Hi, welcome to Crime Clueless. I'm your host, Jenna. What if the truth wasn't hidden? It was just ignored. In 1900, an Iowa farmer was found murdered in his bed, an axe to the head in the middle of the night. His wife, Margaret, said she didn't hear a thing. What followed was one of the most quietly explosive trials in early American history, not because of the courtroom drama or the shocking confessions, although those happened too, but because of what two women noticed when no one else was paying attention. That real-life case inspired a short story by Susan Glaspell called A Jury of Her Peers. It was a groundbreaking piece of feminist literature that questioned everything from domestic life to justice itself. And now it's been reimagined for the screen in a haunting and intimate new film. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with the team behind that film, writer and director William Rock, and cast members Stephanie Schneider, Brianne Magel, and Cheyenne Goode. We'll dig into what drew them to this century-old story, how they gave voice to the silence at its center, and why this quiet act of feminist resistance still hits so hard in 2025. This one's about murder, justice, and the cost of being unheard. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. Let's get into it. Thank you all so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us
here. I've really been looking forward to this because this story has been so interesting. I think I first heard about it, years ago. It was on Unsolved Mysteries. It's been on a few different podcasts that I really like. And I'm super excited that you're putting it up on the big screen. Let's start with a quick intro for listeners. If each of you want to tell me who you are and who you played in this film. William, you want to start?
I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is William Rosh. I'm the writer, director, producer, and chief barista on the feature film Jury of Her Peers.
Excellent. Bree?
I'm Brianne Magel, and I play Margaret.
Awesome. What about Stephanie?
Yeah, my name is Stephanie. My pronouns are she, her. I play Dora, who is one of the sisters and friend to Margaret.
Excellent. And what about you, Cheyenne?
My name is Cheyenne Goode. I played Eliza Peters, who is the sheriff's wife, Dora's sister, and the runt of the litter in the friend group.
I love that description. That's perfect. William, I am curious how you first came across this case and Susan Glaspell's work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting story. I had been on the lookout for a concept for a film that would be, filmable within Iowa. So I was looking for a limited cast, limited location concept. And one summer I was out driving around rural Iowa, just dropped my kids off at camp and drove through this area, which I probably best described as a ghost town. It was obviously had been a larger town at one point, but it's 3 houses and a church and the remains of what used to be like a feed store.
Okay.
But they still have the sign that's like, "Welcome to Medora, Iowa." And I had, there's some history. There's some history here. There was something about this town at one point. So I went home and I Googled it, and I thought for sure I would find, like somebody's genealogy project or maybe a paragraph or two from the Warren County Historical Society. But I Googled Medora, Iowa, and the first website that pops up is iowacoldcases.org.
Oh, you're like jackpot.
Now, like, oh, that's fun.
Yes.
And started reading about this technically unsolved murder case, and learned that one of the reporters that covered it had ended up writing a short story based on her experience covering the case, and that this short story is a classic in American literature. And Susan Glaspell went on to win a Pulitzer Prize. So we have, an Pulitzer Prize winning Iowa author writing a short story that is now in public domain that is based on an unsolved murder. I mean, it was just, I was hooked immediately.
That's amazing. I love that you're just out for a drive and that brought all of this together.
Absolutely. There's a lot of stories hiding out there in rural Iowa.
I bet. So you're all located in Iowa, right?
Correct.
Yes.
I love that. You're all like right there ready to be on set.
Yep.
William, when you first read Jury of Her Peers, was there any particular moment or line that really made you go, okay, this is something I have to bring to the big screen?
Trying to think if there were anything specific. It's just the general concept of that the men are doing their investigation and primarily looking for physical clues outside, in the areas where the men would spend most of their time. They're looking for clues in the barn, in the farmyard, and they're looking for physical clues. And the women have their own separate investigation, and they're looking inside the house, and they're looking primarily for like emotional clues, psychological. They're trying to determine what was happening inside the house when this murder happened, and just the dichotomy of that and how quickly it splits into two separate viewpoints. I thought that was really interesting.
Absolutely. I love that balance between where you can really feel what they're feeling while they're in the house versus what the men are trained to look for, like detectives, investigators, things like that. How did you her short story is maybe 17 pages. How did you take that story and write it into this feature-length film?
Yeah, and that was tricky. And I think some folks that are, fans of the original will probably disagree with some of the choices that we made, but that's the fun part of adaptation. In the original short story, the accused, Margaret, is, I believe in Glaspell's version, she's called Minnie. The accused isn't in the story at all. She appears briefly in the beginning, in almost a flashback, and she's not there at all. And Glaspell did it on purpose to show how silenced women's voices were at the time.
Absolutely.
And that's an important point, at the time. And so by bringing, the accused into the story, what we're trying to convey is that, okay, now women do have more of a voice now, but there are still very much men who are willing to kill them for speaking out. And so we're trying to emphasize that women are still risking violence by speaking out. So it's a different point that we're trying to make. So that's a pretty big change, is bringing the accused into the story. I'm sure the actresses have other ideas.
Yep, I have questions for them on that too. You're my first victim, though.
No, that's okay.
I was curious if there were any moments during filming where you thought, okay, this is the scene, watching it come to life after the entire process. This is the scene that is going to stick with people, that they're going to think about long after watching this.
Yeah. There's one scene in particular that is almost a montage, not quite a montage. It's a pretty emotional series of flashbacks. And one of our actors had to drive about an hour and a half to be on set. And so we had him for the day, and we were like, can we crank this series of flashbacks out while he's here so that he doesn't have to drive back again another day? And then we realized that we had exactly like 90 seconds worth of recording time left on our digital card.
Oh, shoot.
And so we sat down and we storyboarded the thing out in about 3 minutes. And we're like, hey, we get one take of everything, and we have to bring everything we have to every take because we've got one shot at this. And I think that just made that scene. Brianne, I know, has some thoughts on that because she's in it. But I think that really made that scene just that much more impactful. It was an experience for us to film it.
I can't imagine trying to make sure that they're all one take and that's it. That's amazing. Bri, you want to chat about that at all? About that day, that session of filming?
Yeah, I think it was my first day on set.
Oh, wow. You're like, is every day going to be like this?
I know. I was like, okay, guys. No, I spent all morning and afternoon with Stephanie and Cheyenne. So it's mostly, those are my scene partners, is Stephanie and Cheyenne for the most part. And then we go to shoot this one scene and with John. That's the scene you're talking about, right?
Will? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, I think that was the only time that happened. So it was very emotional. Like there's a very emotional part, like a very key part to Margaret's story that happens during this scene. And it was, here's your mark, here's this, and there wasn't a lot of time to think about it. I didn't, wasn't able to get in my head, but it was very raw, very real. And because of the scene that we shot, I cried all the way home.
Oh,
like it was, I was just like, so it was very moving. And I think, I don't want to say that it worked better because we were in such a cramp, but it may have, I don't know. It was like, and the lighting was going, all of the things were happening. It was like 7 p.m. Everyone was dead tired. We'd been there for 12 hours or more. It was, I was just like, okay, day one, check. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll see you at 8 a.m.
Oh, man. So better to, on that day, not have time to overthink it or.
Exactly. Just go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Oh, I love that.
Brie, I had no idea that was your first day on set.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So stressful.
I was like, John, is this how it's going to be? John's
every day.
Our chief of photography, cinematographer, artiste, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it was like, don't mess around. We're not,
At one point, the camera, John, our cinematographer who was holding the camera, at one point he was just like, don't act, just go.
Just go, yeah. I remember that. I'm like, okay. That's better. Like, you don't want to think that you're acting. You don't want to act like you're acting.
Mm-hmm.
It was, in that moment, I think that was probably the best little bit of advice. It was just like, go, and we have 90 seconds. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, quite the initiation.
Oh, absolutely. How did you prepare to play Margaret?
I read, there's a book called Midnight Assassin.
Yes. Oh, it's so good.
Which is based on, has it right there. And Rifles, did all the reading, did all of the things. And finding that I related to her quite a bit, in the sense that she was very quiet, she was very stoic, quiet, didn't tell a lot of people that, there may have been problems at home, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Same thing happened in my life. Marriage was falling apart. I was holding it together. I didn't tell anyone. It was, I related quite a bit to her.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. It actually turned out to be fine and great.
Good.
But so I was like, I know what this feels like. I know what it feels like to be, just to have to also to turn off the emotion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I played Margaret as, she's in shock, but she also doesn't show a whole lot.
Right. She's famously very quiet, very
stoic. Yes.
I feel like there's something universal about women carrying pain, and even if it's not that pain, other pain, to where I feel like so many women will relate to your character in this film. Yeah.
Yes. Just like not telling anyone, and then it gets so bad that something happens and everyone assumes it's her.
Right. Did you create your own internal version of her story as you were reading Midnight Assassin and Trifles?
Yeah, I tried to honor like as much as we knew about her, and then mixed with my own life experience. And I understood her. I knew where she was coming from. Those sorts of things. I don't know what she was like. I don't know what her voice sounded like. I don't know those sorts of things that I did have to come up with all on my own. So,
right.
Yeah.
How did you physically express Margaret's isolation? Was that difficult?
It wasn't too bad. A lot of times I was in a rocking chair, so that was easy to like confine myself.
Mm-hmm.
She wore, she just had this navy blue, it was, I can't remember it was like a house dress,
Yeah.
and with an
house
apron.
coat, something.
With an apron, the hair was back, very plain.
She had 9 or 10 kids in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, right? Popped them out.
Yeah.
Tired, weird.
Starting young too. Yeah.
Yes. There are times when I made a choice to, stand tall. And usually that was when the men were around.
I love that.
And it was, and then like when I was with Cheyenne and Stephanie, when it was the friends, I could be a little bit more real and show a little bit more.
Yeah, right. I know the real Margaret never testified in her own defense.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like that is completely true to her character as a woman.
Yeah.
And as a woman in the 1890s and having been put in, you have a place.
Yeah.
But I absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
I hate that she didn't stand up for herself or defend herself.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes back to, Glaspell's, trifle. It has a lot about the societal norms, and the words are really fun. The patriarchy of, just the men come in and they're like, I'm going to tell you how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, like one of them is, Dora's like, do you think I could be a detective? And the doctor's like, no, don't be silly. You women can't do that.
You've got to stay in the kitchen.
Right. Yeah. It's like, go make babies and make bread.
Right.
Right. It's like, you don't have the brain or the guts to do, that's men's, that sort of thing. So,
yeah.
But yeah, they come in and they, they huff and puff and they think that they know. And they're like, well, the wife did it. And, moving on.
Yeah. Check.
And women they weren't believed. Their word meant nothing. They had no property. They had nothing to their names. So what was the point? I think she also thought,
right.
What's the point of me talking out? No one's going to listen anyway, which breaks my heart. Just breaks my heart.
Oh, absolutely. And you think about that courtroom where no women are allowed to be on the jury.
Yeah.
You've got 1,200 people some days attending court.
Yeah.
And, all men in the judge, the lawyers, the jury. I completely agree with your assessment that what's the point? It doesn't matter. Right. They've already decided pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you have any moments in rehearsal or filming that kind of shifted who you thought she was? Or were you able to get that all before?
I was able to get it pretty well after reading the script a lot. And we had a few rehearsals together to do some blocking and those sorts of things off site. So it was a little disjointed because you're like, well, I think we're in the living room, but where were we?
Right.
But you work with what you can.
Absolutely.
And we transferred it pretty well. But once I got the costume on and the shoes and the hair, that really, I was like, here's Margaret. Like,
that's so interesting. Can you guys tell me a little bit about the costumes and the hair and the whole, that girly side of it?
We had an amazing costume department who works at Living History Farms. And so has a lot of historical experience. And she and her mom made all of our things.
Wow.
I think I wore her actual boots. Like she had like period boots that we wore.
That's really cool.
My personal, like for my hair, I have short hair. It's not period style. I don't think it's weird, but everyone else seems to think it's super weird. Will's about to die. I am in possession of my great grandmother's braids.
Oh, wow.
So she got her hair cut off in the 1920s.
Okay.
She was born in 1903. So, similar time-ish.
Absolutely.
So she cut her hair. She had thick, dark hair, cut it off. And for some reason, they've been handed down to me. in really good shape. They match my hair color. She's been in a lot of musicals, been in a lot of History Day. And I pinned them into my hair and made a little bun.
Oh, perfect.
And so this was her film debut. So I'm really excited about that. But so that's my hair story.
Yeah.
I know everyone else has. Cheyenne has a hair story. I know.
Oh, Cheyenne has
Oh boy.
all the hair stories.
Epic hair story. And it's not her dead great grandmother's hair either. So.
No.
That's going to be hard to top, but I'm excited.
I don't think it's weird. My family doesn't think it's weird.
Yeah, I had hair.
Just a little.
A little bit of hair. The more exciting part, I don't know where I should start. So first, Devin, the costume designer, made this amazing Edgar Allan Poe-esque hat with these jackdaw wings, and it is just fabulous. But she be heavy.
Yeah.
Along with this wig that I styled, because this film takes over the course of like an afternoon or a day or something like that. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do my hair up and keep it looking correct continuity wise over the course of like 3 or 4 months.
Absolutely.
So I got the idea of getting a wig off Amazon and styling it, which in theory was a good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. However, I am a baby wig stylist, and that this is my very first attempt at styling a wig, and I should have thinned that sucker out. It was heavy.
I was going to say, did it weigh more than the hat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there would be days where we'd be filming and it would pull so bad. And we'd wig adjustment, and it pulled on my real hair a little. I have recovered. But,
you look fabulous.
Yes. It was a beautiful, beautiful disaster. But honestly, as far as costuming goes, that whole ensemble looked phenomenal.
It looked amazing in the trailer.
With definitely amazing job putting that dress together, with making that dress and the hat. Mm-hmm. And then they sourced some actual Victorian shoes that I forgot some things in inserts. Oh, rest in peace. And the jewelry, everything. There was so much attention to detail with everything, with the historical detail. It was amazing. And we even had to learn some etiquette of how to carry ourselves. Ooh. You can't go upstairs without just holding your skirts. You got to cross them over.
Oh, I did not know that.
Otherwise, you're not raised properly. And Eliza was not raised properly. She was raised a country farm girl and then married off to a sheriff. So
interesting.
She's not house trained. She's fine.
She's the fancy one of the group. The runt, but the fancy one.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you, Stephanie?
Honestly, I feel like I had it pretty easy. For the most part, I was in one costume, and Devin had made this beautiful, like billowy puff sleeves, like Anne of Green Gables is what it reminds me of. Just this white puff sleeve, button-up shirt with a brooch, and she made that just for me. And then like I had a skirt as well and some underclothes, and obviously the corset.
Oh, how was the corset?
Honestly, it wasn't that bad.
No, okay.
I knew not to do it too tight.
Yeah,
and we adjusted it day to day.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
If I was bloated that day, I was bloated that day.
Totally.
We just adjusted.
Totally.
So yeah, I honestly, like, it was a little warm, like starting out, because we kind of started in September. So, and in an old farmhouse, the air conditioning's not great.
No.
But then it was great for like the colder months.
Oh, yeah.
We were pretty nice and warm. So yeah, and then I just had my hair pulled back into like a high, like cute little bun, and I have long hair, so I feel like I had the easiest hair time.
That sounds easier.
As far as that goes. So I was like, I can recreate this all the time. It's
Every
great.
day. Yeah.
So costume wise, I was like, this is maybe the easiest project I've ever done. I don't have to change it all.
Right.
Don't have to keep track of what I'm wearing. I always know what I'm wearing. Like,
yeah,
very routine. which was nice because I just felt like, oh yeah, same character, just stepping into Dora in that particular outfit. It's her.
Yeah.
So.
Do we miss the Anne of Green Gables dresses, ladies, or not so much?
Mine was real comfortable because I didn't have a corset. So
that's right.
I was just like, whatever. It was really
I would have kept the shirt. Maybe I should ask
a-
Devin if I can keep it.
Yeah.
I got to wear that shirt. I wore your outfit in the church scene.
That's right.
I did. I was just like, I feel so pretty.
I know.
The corset helped me sit up nice and tall because I was in church, like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a really pretty blouse. And a full skirt. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fabric in that skirt.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have definitely kept my makeup routine from that for like my day-to-day makeup.
Oh, that's amazing. I bet your skin is grateful. William, they mentioned the farmhouse, and I had heard an interview that you did. Can you tell listeners about the farmhouse?
Yeah, absolutely. We lucked out with that, and really, it's the great thing about Iowa is people love to help out, and that was the thing where we started telling people we're making a movie, and they're like, "Well, what do you need?" Which is awesome. And we did before we filmed it, we did some fundraising. So we filmed a proof of concept, and we were about 2 weeks from filming that, and we didn't have a location, and we were reaching out to people all over rural Iowa for an authentic farmhouse. And I ended up casting for the proof of concept a minister friend that I knew to play the sheriff because he's tall and authoritative, and he actually then said, well, one of the other churches that I serve, one of the people there is on the board of this rural historical society, and they actually have title to this century farmhouse, this authentic period farmhouse with the authentic period barn still intact, because a farmer had signed it over to them as a tax write-off with the stipulation that he could live there until he passed away. And it's a museum now, but we were able to, so they were more than happy to have us film there. Pretty much, other than the kitchen, probably about 90% of that house, we had to do very little to it to make it look authentic to the period, because it pretty much whole parts of that house basically been untouched since the 1930s. And the barn for sure. So we're very lucky to run into that.
That's such a blessing to have somewhere that is authentic and time specific, and in Iowa, which is where the story takes place. Should we talk about Dora, Stephanie?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. I find, while Margaret is so silent in Susan's book, Dora seems like she's the first one that hears it and is noticing what other people are missing. So intuitive. How did you approach this character?
Well, initially, so I read Midnight Assassin, and I thought, man, I feel like there is so much of Susan Glaspell in Dora. Like the want to know the details and being the observant one, also kind of the more progressive one. Yeah. She tends to speak out more, though still continues to get silenced. But there's this drive in her, especially when, her best friend is being accused of murder, that she snaps into action, right. So I find this true that often, and this includes in intimacy work as well, people have a harder time sticking up for themselves, but when it's someone close to them, it is so easy to snap in. And I think that's something Dora realizes as well and begins to stand up for herself by the end of the movie. So yeah, I think Susan was kind of in the back of my mind. And I think she's so observant and she's so intelligent. And I just don't think that anyone recognized that, and there was no avenue for that. It was basically you just get married and have kids. And I feel like that's all of this and the clues, it just kind of fed into that part of herself that hadn't been explored either.
Absolutely.
And then you add in best friend, protective, and her and her sister are estranged. in the first part. So it's kind of this butting heads dynamic as well with her sister, and kind of this like having to prove yourself as well. That definitely comes with the character.
I don't mean to put you on the spot with this question, but do you want to tell people a little bit about Susan, how she got observing all of this? Do you know the background?
I know a little bit. So, Will, if you want to add in, or Bree, I know you both read it. If you want to jump in, you can. But she was a reporter for, I believe, it was one of the Des Moines newspapers. When the trial initially started, I know she was like, Margaret did it. Like, absolutely. And as she reported on that, the goings on down there, I think she started to change her mind when she went into the house. She visited the property, kind of saw things, and then started to realize this is not as clear about who did this as they're saying. And then very much started to feel for Margaret, and then start to even like defend her and being like, there's no proof.
Right.
Even if she did, there's not enough evidence to like, without a doubt, it be her. And because they had, older children, adult children,
right.
specifically adult sons, even though Margaret was on trial, like, my thought is probably it was maybe one of them. And maybe the other reason she didn't speak out is to protect them potentially.
Sure.
Who knows?
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I think like her kind of stepping into Margaret's environment gave her the compassion to maybe understand Margaret's side of the story. And yeah, I think anything, Brie or Will, you want to add?
I totally agree. Yeah, it in her readings, you can definitely, or in her writings, I was reading.
Right.
You can tell there's a shift. Yes, she goes in and believes all the men, she did it, and cut and dry. And then as she's doing a little bit more observing and investigating and those sorts of things, she thinks, maybe not.
You can like feel that shift in her reporting when you read them in order. You can almost feel it shift.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Stephanie, what do you think drives Dora's transformation? Anything other than going to the house or Margaret being her best friend? Is there anything else?
I think for this story, specifically for Dora, but I think it kind of reflects in the other women at the time. As I was doing research, there's just so much isolation for farm wives, particularly in that time period. And Dora is estranged from her sister and her mother. It's kind of implied they don't get along. Their father, we've decided, is passed. And her and Margaret haven't seen each other for a while. And Dora has her own. She has 5 kids. She's basically running the farm herself. There's tension between her and her husband. She doesn't feel like he's helping her at all. She just feels so alone. And when Margaret's in trouble, she jumps at the chance to be there for Margaret. But also there's this whole thing of like me trying to reconnect with her. And then you have my sister coming in too, where we're continuing to fight and then against each other. And I think as they realize that they're stronger together and their connection is really what they're craving, is this friendship, this closeness, this intimacy with each other, they begin to strengthen and have something to push up against with the men.
Right.
To prove that they also have things to say, and that there's definitely a healing there, I think, for Dora, where she realizes she's not alone and she doesn't have to do this alone.
Oh, I love that. William, let me ask you, in Susan's version, Eliza and Dora aren't sisters. Can you talk on why you made that change?
Yeah, absolutely. And it has a lot of dramatic weight in Glaspell's version, because at the beginning of Glaspell's story, the two women don't really know each other at all. And by the end of the story, they come together to work together basically just off of, recognizing their similarities as women, that they're together in this. And there's a lot of impact to that. It works for a short story. It's a lot harder to make that work over, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And so just thinking about, okay, well, what are the ways that we can add more conflict and more drama to the story, and what relationship has more drama inherent to it than being siblings?
None.
so I wanted to make them so I had them be sisters, and that one of them is still very much on the farm, and the other one has sort of escaped and married up, and that creates a lot of, just that alone creates conflict instantly, that we can see that play out over the course of the film. And I did want them to be strangers in a sense, to kind of go back to Glaspell's original work, that even though they're sisters, they start out the film as strangers in a lot of ways, and still have to reconcile that. And I thought that having them be sisters would make that reconciliation more impactful.
Oh, absolutely. I do this podcast with 3 sisters, so I can relate to the sister sibling dynamic there. Stephanie, one more question. In, the book, and then I'm assuming in the film, there's like this collective grief over Margaret being in the position that she's in. Did any of that emotion go home with you? Did it stick with you after filming?
I think that, at least for me, with Dora, towards the end, there was this fear of like, actually maybe more in the beginning. It's kind of hard because it's this reality of like, what if my friend is also guilty? Like,
right.
I'm convinced she's not, but like, what if?
Mm-hmm.
And so like, she's struggling with this. When I find evidence, what does it mean? And so, but also this desperate need of like, this is my only friend. I cannot let her be taken away. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of that also comes with me trying to get Eliza on board to be like, get on our team, like support us. I know your husband's the sheriff, but like, he's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're estranged, there's so much hurt there. Honestly, there's a really tense moment between Dora and Eliza, and that day was really heavy emotionally for me. I was maybe in the headspace too long, but I a couple days before, but I knew it was coming. I wanted it to be real and raw, and I sat in it for a long time, and I felt it. But yeah, like kind of like Bree said with one of those other scenes, like it did kind of come home with me. I do have lots of closure practices I use, but that one took me a little bit. So I had to kind of do a lot of reset, a lot of breathing, coming back to myself, and just leaving that alone. Like, that's done.
Yeah.
And it's not me. It's what I've created.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that moment of like kind of the high point of tension between Eliza and Dora was an intense moment. And then there's a confrontation with her husband as well, at a point in the story that is also pretty intense. And there were just similar situations happening with a close person in my life. It was reflected in that circumstance. So that it was kind of eye-opening, I think, for me in a lot of ways, of like being in that position and how I think I would react versus what I was feeling in that moment as Dora, the powerlessness,
right,
in just the physicality. I mean, and like, I know that, well, my husband, okay, not my husband, my film husband, Alex, is super tall and super broad shouldered and just like this like rock of a guy. He has an intimidating presence just being in the room anyway. But when you add confrontation, it can be like, it's just kind of this, whoa, that's a lot of power coming at me, energy wise. Yeah, that I think some of those days I just really had to make sure I took care of myself and just left that in the space rather than take that home with me.
Sure. You are, or you were, an intimacy coordinator? Did that help?
I am. Yeah.
You are. Okay. That's what I thought, but I wanted to double check. Did that help you handle that, as well as Dora's sense of safety, her compassion, how she acts, how she protects?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I see a lot of myself in Dora. And I think the main thing I see a lot of is when, I'm an actor as well, but actors are so afraid to state boundaries or say no or offer other things. And that's just something that they have to practice a lot. And I think in that time period, there was no consent.
No.
There were no boundaries. Dora standing up and finding her voice, I think, is a really brave thing to do, but also reflects that, like, standing up for Margaret, so much easier than standing up to her husband or her sister, or really sharing her feelings. And so I see that reflected a lot in her. I love this work because Alex and I had a couple intense moments, and we just talked through, like, I was like, I'm okay with this. Are you okay? Just checking in with each other if there are any boundaries. I just have that language, like, built into me. And then we, as intimacy coordinators, we also talk a lot about closure practices and how to fully experience the work as an actor and be fully in character and feel those real feelings, and then how to convince your body that none of that was real, because your body thinks it's real even if your brain doesn't. So it's kind of getting that shift, and that can look different for everybody. Some people have it built in naturally, but there are lots of different things, like temperature changes, interacting with someone you know really well. It's just kind of coming back to yourself and what's real in the moment rather than what you did fully experience.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I could do like a whole episode on your intimacy coordinator work.
I'm here if you want to talk.
I
can talk about it for
hours too. Should we shift to Eliza, Cheyenne?
Okay.
She's such an interesting character. It's such an interesting position where she's the sheriff's wife, but Margaret's friend, Dora's sister. It struck me, while she's not as quick as Dora, she's still deeply affected, and you can see that kind of internal shift in her. What was it like to play a character who's torn between the loyalty to her husband and the law and the very black and white versus the intuitive understanding, the female side, justice, everything that encompasses?
It was definitely a journey. It was a very out of order journey.
Out of order. I like that.
Because she has this whole character arc, and you have to remember where in her journey she is while you're filming. Is she still at odds with her sister? Are they coming together? Have they had their moment yet? So that part of filming can be, Stephanie had this amazing way of keeping track of where we were in the script. I had my own way, and then I saw her way, and I got really jealous of how amazing and well kept her way was. But
steal my ideas, Cheyenne. Steal them. Take them.
Next project.
I love that.
Yes. You really have to keep track of where you are, because Eliza really had that whole arc of coming in, and I feel that she was always the runt of the litter. She was the youngest. She always looked up to both Margaret and Dora, and always wanted to be, she was just young enough to kind of be a nuisance with them, but they still let her tag along. Gotcha. And then now she's trying to show them, look what I have now. I have these fine things. My husband is a sheriff, but really that life is pretty shallow and lonely. And I think for all three of them, it's about them being so isolated, and then finding each other and coming together to find that relationship that they really needed, that love that they needed, being platonic, whatever it is that they needed was really each other, that support system.
Right.
And it was just really kind of sad in some ways to see how lonely she really truly was, and this life that she tried to project was so fabulous, but she wanted a family. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Oh no.
William, let me know. I'll take it out.
No, that's a Glaspell story. That's in the original. That's in the source material.
Okay.
Yeah. She wants what they have. And in some ways they think they want what she has, like money.
Right.
But it's not all that it's cracked up to be. It's a lot of miscommunications in some ways, because they've been all parted for so long.
Right. Oh, that
And so
gives me chills. Like you can just put that into 2025 so easily, right?
yeah, a very modern story in a very different time.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned the wanting what others have as you were preparing to play Eliza. Were there any real life parallels or historical inspiration that you drew on?
I definitely read the book. I read through Glaspell's works. I tried to look for information on the real life wife of the sheriff. There's not much I could find. I found where she grew up and where she was buried, and that was about it. But as she was a very fictionalized version, I didn't feel too guilty about making up my own background for her.
Absolutely.
As far as inspiration, I just kind of really drew from the script and then pulled from there inferences on women of the time and what their experiences would have been with immigrant parents growing up on a farm, her being the youngest child, being married off to a much older man, what the circumstances there might have been, all that would entail.
That's so interesting. I'm really excited to see this film, you guys. Can you tell me what, and I don't want to tread into too much of the story, but we mentioned that it mostly takes place in an afternoon. Do you imagine what Eliza would have done post-film, post that day?
I think maybe at some point she may have, I don't think she would have ever blatantly spoken with her husband about what happened, especially not at first, but maybe sometime down the line, she may have spoken in some sort of code to coyly let him know. Because I think he knows, she knows.
I like that. He knows, she knows.
Yeah.
Building on that as their relationship continues.
Yeah.
Do you think that Eliza's choices, we just mentioned the parallel between then and 125 years later, do you think they feel modern in a way?
In the beginning, I tried to portray her very much as a woman of her time, but especially as she gets back to being more familiar with her sister and her friend, the training, the etiquettes of the time that she has tried to familiarize herself with begin to wear away. And she becomes less of the prim and proper woman and what would be considered today more of the modern woman.
Was that part of what was hard to keep track of during filming that we mentioned?
Sometimes, yes. I was like, okay, how proper am I? How much leeway am I giving myself?
How much etiquette do I have to do today?
Yes.
Yes. When we were talking about if it feels modern, how much bravery do you think it took for Eliza to do what she does? Especially 125 years ago, right?
Yeah. When all's said and done, the things she does, it was a pretty brave thing for her to do what she did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a more silent partner in the trio, but she's still definitely, she gets her hands wet.
Yeah. Which I think is incredibly brave.
Yeah. Especially considering her husband. She's definitely pulled in some different directions.
Yeah. William, talking about how all three of these women are, what inspiration did you draw on to write these roles?
That's a good question.
If I can get one good question, that's good.
Yeah, one good. Yeah, no. Yeah. I think with Margaret, it was just having done research on PTSD and just shock and how that affects people. I don't know if you can call that an inspiration, but it's the material that we were drawing from.
Yeah.
And that helps the mystery of it, right? With Dora and Eliza, I have a friend who, she and her sister have had their ups and downs and over the years, and just honestly listening to to their stories about, their childhood, growing up, and where they are now. Was a lot of that.
It seems like, in Glaspell's version, Margaret is incredibly quiet, and I'm assuming that PTSD research gives her more voice in your film.
Yeah, and it's and the improv is that's when when Margaret finds her voice and when she doesn't. But sometimes it's not just voice; it's presence. The lack of voice sometimes says as much as speaking. The moments when Margaret is just not able to say anything. It talked about how like she didn't testify in her own defense, and there's times where in the script where it's like she probably could say something and probably should say something and doesn't. And that is just as important as the times when she does.
Absolutely. And where that's something you're just reading, and so you can read that she's not saying something or sitting still or whatever the case may be. How hard was that to write actions, things like that you had to put in to then have these actors do for you?
I do think there's places where the script is there's places where, actors could go multiple ways with things, and that on purpose, so that they can make their own choices. But, they all knocked it out of the park. So
I love that.
Yeah, very happy with how it turned out.
I'm excited. Is there any MVPs, that we're not talking to right now that you guys just felt? I mean, we talked about costume design, but anybody that just knocked it out of the park that was instrumental to this film?
I honestly, I just think like this whole team was some of the greatest people I've worked with. So efficient, so on it. And yet we had just the best time. It was such a good balance. So like, honestly, everybody, but Amy is like the first person who comes to mind. She was basically did everything, wore multiple hats, producer, but also just like scheduling. She was like basically our collective brain.
Superwoman.
Yeah, Amy was great. And she, when we first asked, because she'd done the Fleet Art Film Festival, and we asked if she wanted to come on board as more production capacity, and she's like, well, I don't have that much experience with film. And we're like, no, but you've 20 years of project management experience at a Fortune 500 company, so I think you'll be fine. And
amazing.
Yeah, she ran circles around all of us. So
she managed us so well.
Yes, she did.
Round of applause. I love it. With a film this heavy, when you're filming, did you have any bloopers that were laugh out loud or completely ridiculous or memorable?
Yeah, I think it was what's the one? We had a couple of sayings that we would get on set, and I think the safety dance one is probably, I think Stephanie made stickers about that.
That and a zhuzh of fog, because we used so much fog.
Yeah, we burned out the motor on our first fog machine
because
we were using so much fog. So it got to the point where like, just a zhuzh of fog is all we need in this scene. But yeah, there were times where we'd do a take and we're like, that was really good. We don't really need to do another take, but we probably should just for safety's sake. Yeah. And so we ended up, safety dance became this kind of code for like, I don't have any notes for you all. I think it was great, but we're going to do it again just because. And so I'd yell cut, and then we'd reset, and we're like, this one's a safety dance. And that became kind of our code for that.
Oh, I love that. That was the stickers.
I had stickers. I made stickers.
Yes.
It was my like task gift. It was so fun. One that comes to mind that John left in for us one time is like, there's a scene with me and the doctor, and like I exit, and then he just keeps rolling, and I like pop in like smiling like, are we good? It's just this complete vibe change. There's also one that John requested I do, but I hope no one sees it. Yeah, do the
I want to hear.
I can't remember the line now.
Did not hit her.
I did not hit her. my God.
There's
And then I think, remind me, I think, I don't know if this is like footage, but I know we have a photo of like all of us in the heat, like hiking up our skirts,
our skirts
like
are
in our shorts.
Yeah. You can just see like our like under shorts that we wear under our dresses. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like fanning ourselves
with the bottom of the skirt.
because we were on the second floor and it was warm up there.
Oh, I bet.
I feel like there are a lot of funny photos.
Yeah. I haven't seen them. There was one I remember. It was a cough, which was another term that was coined. I don't know. Did John coin it? It's a close up.
Close up. Yeah.
And so he was like right in my face, and I'm sewing something specific, and I can't tell you what I'm sewing, and it's this really intense moment. And it's very difficult to sew the particular thing that I'm sewing. It is not meant to be sewn. And he's just, and it's, I don't think there's any audio. I'm not sure. I don't have any lines or anything, but it is like, he was like, oh, this is it. Like, I'm getting it. And like the thing falls apart, and then I break into giggles and I ruin the take. And I tend to, like, if something's too intense, I laugh. And so, so that was, anyway.
I'm pretty sure we all lost it for like a good 5 minutes.
I was just like, ah! It's like, what am I supposed to be doing here? It's like, I can sew, but not this thing.
No. So then you had to try it all over again.
And the thing was falling apart because it wasn't meant to be sewn.
Yeah, we maybe need some of those out there.
Sure, there's a blooper with me, but I don't remember any. I just made a lot of faces at the camera when we weren't, when I didn't think it was rolling.
And maybe it was. Yeah.
I mean, the three of us spent a lot of time together.
We did.
So, like, naturally, like, you get, like, giggly and silly. Like, you're just, I mean, we're on set for, like, 8 hours a day. Right. And you just become super close and have inside jokes, and you just get goofy, because if you don't, you're just going to fall asleep.
There were sausages at Living History.
Oh,
the sausages! And they were real, and it was,
That's a funny story too. Yeah, we wanted authentic, the sausages like that are like on a chain.
Okay, yeah.
Right, like the big link of like old Bugs Bunny cartoon style sausages. And so we went to, Amy went to this butcher shop on the south side of Des Moines, the old Italian neighborhoods. And she's trying to explain to the lady at the lady at the cash register she wants, and she doesn't get it. And then from like this back corner of their kitchen, this old lady comes out and is like, "Yeah, I know what you want. I got it back here." And comes out with the train of sausages.
It's the best story.
Like, I did not know that. We have to make sure we use these in the film.
Yes, you have to.
Oh man.
Oh, so good.
Oh, that has my face hurting from laughing.
That's my picture day too.
There's also a picture of Will in a bonnet, which I appreciate.
Yeah. I hope that's
a Living History farm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, any chance we could get to put me into a ridiculous costume, we had to.
In my hat too at some point.
Ooh.
I did at one point when if we had to take your hat off to readjust the wig or whatever, we would just put the hat wherever, set the hat wherever we could. And I know it ended up on my head as a holding place at least once.
Did we ever get the wig plus the hat, or?
I highly doubt the wig would have fit on my head, but I mean, we could have tried after we were done.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
I can always restyle it if you want to wear it.
Put that on Instagram.
Cheyenne did save that wig, though. Which is crazy. We thought we'd just burn. I thought you'd just burn it, but
I thought about it several times. I fantasized about it.
At the end of that long 12-hour filming day. Yeah. Would you wear that if you had appearances for the film?
The The wig as it is now? Absolutely.
Yes.
As it was? No.
No.
Burn it.
Those hairstyles are done. We don't want to do those anymore.
I can imagine. Although now that you said that, your next film is going to be same time period, same hairstyle.
I don't mind the hairstyle. I just wasn't going to be able to do that hairstyle myself consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 3-4 months.
I have an upcoming film where I've got to braid it around my head, and I'm like, we gotta figure that out.
Do you have to do that yourself?
Same every time.
You can get the braid.
Yeah, you can buy a headband that just ties in the back.
I have one.
That's hair. I do too.
I guess I just figured because I can and my hair's long, but that's way easier.
So
and then
easy.
you can just put it in a bun or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that.
Things I didn't know. Wow. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
I found something.
Yeah.
For all your wig needs.
If you need a fake hair help.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
That was not proper English, but whatever.
I can cut it out, but I like it. Did you three know each other before?
No.
We met on the proof of concept shoot. I mean, Cheyenne and I knew about each other, but we'd never actually done anything together. And then Bree and I have mutual friends, but we never met.
We'd never met.
So
that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty instant connection. I feel like between the three of us, worked well, and then we all have positive energy and just feed really well off of each other, and it was a great time.
You guys seem amazing together. I love your energy and your vibe.
Thanks.
Yeah. We'll kind of work on wrapping up a little bit, but for younger audiences, especially women and girls, what do you hope that they take away from this story?
I think for me, what I want them to take away is that having close friends and investing in those is meaningful, and also is supportive. And with people in your corner, you can do so much, and you can't do everything alone. And I would hope that it also inspires women to leave circumstances that are harmful to them and do not serve them or support them.
Yeah.
And to find the people that do.
I love that.
Absolutely. Piggybacking on that, I hate that term, sorry. Everything that Stephanie said, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
The close friendships, that village sense, and the female friendships also that are so important. And also that speaking up matters, and telling people and including people and including your village in on what's happening in your life.
Right.
Speaking from first person experience is impeccably important.
Absolutely.
And that you have a voice, and your voice matters, and your story is real. Don't let someone diminish your life because it's just the way it is.
That is powerful.
Agreed with the ladies. And also, I would say that don't let anyone tell you who you are or what you're capable of as part of it. The men are constantly telling the women what the boxes that they should fit in.
Yeah.
And they prove, at least to themselves, if not to the men, what they are truly capable of. And I think that's also an important takeaway to add on to that.
Those are all my favorite things to harp on my podcast. So,
Yes.
William, anything to add to the ladies?
I mean, I'm getting chills with how well they've picked up on the characters that I wrote. It's been amazing to see them bring these characters to life. I mean, somebody cast this thing really well.
Who was that? Who did that?
Props to whoever that was.
I hear it was you.
One thing I'll say that I didn't even really intend for this, actually, some of the test screenings that we've done, it's been interesting to see which characters audiences really connect with. And there's a character in this film for everybody, honestly. What was interesting is that older folks, particularly older women, and by older I mean like even like Gen X, not even necessarily boomer, but
Yeah.
Older folks tend to identify more with Eliza, and I think it's because her like moral quandary, her dramatic quandary in the film is, is she is her allegiance with her husband or is it with her friends? And I think that's something that older generations have more connection to, whereas Dora, any like it's interesting to watch the film, and like every time like Dora has a line, every woman under the age of 39 is just cheering. And I think that's because, and so they identify, and it's interesting. I think that's because like her moral quandary is, should I stand up for this? Should I stand up against this injustice? Should I stand up for my friend, even at the risk of my own life? And that is sadly a very relevant question today. And I think one message that I'd like folks to take is like, those worldviews are not exclusive. Like, as Dora and Eliza try to reconcile over the script, just because people have different experiences doesn't mean they don't all have the same goal. We can still work together.
Right. Especially applicable now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think there's something to be said about sitting with friends in those dark places.
Yes.
As well. Like Margaret, like Will said, is having PTSD, is totally, there's a lot there where she's just not present. And so like sitting there and just being there and trying to get information from her, but also realizing that that's not happening, and that while it's frustrating, I think there's something to be said about being there for people in those dark moments. And I know I've experienced that with my friends. And, as they've come out of it, then I'm going to need that eventually. And so like just this showing up for each other, even when it's really difficult, I think is also a theme that comes up for me.
Oh, it's so important. This movie has everything.
Yeah, it does.
It does. I like that. My last question. Can you tell our listeners where they can watch Jury of Her Peers and how to find you on your socials or your website, everything like that?
We are submitting to festivals. We're going to hit the festival tour this fall.
Very exciting.
So, keep an eye on our socials and see if we're coming to a festival near you.
Do you want to tell them your socials? And I'll link them too. Yeah,
absolutely. So everything is under Will Do Films. That's the production company, Will Do Films LLC, on Facebook and Instagram and Blue Sky. And we also have a website, juryofherpeers.com, which has links to all of the socials plus our IMDb page.
And your trailer is on there?
Correct. Yep. And the trailer's on the website as well.
So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Will Do Films, WILLDOFILMS. And like I said, I'll link those below. And do you have any specific festivals that you're especially looking forward to?
I know there are some that we will be getting into, but it's not announceable yet. But we have some very good festivals all over the Midwest that we're very excited about.
Very cool. Do any of you have upcoming projects that you're especially excited about that you want to mention, or your own socials where people can follow you?
I mean, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me under my name. I think currently I'm in production for a couple projects. One is called The Hunt, but that films this fall. It's a medieval monster hunter where I play an archer. So I'm living my Legolas Robin Hood summer era.
That sounds so great.
So fun.
So fun.
Also dream for me. I love period stuff. Just doing it. But that won't be for a while. But that's kind of what I'm working on now. Intimacy coordinating a film called The Painter by Mike White that will be finished filming probably next month. But other than that, going to do a lot of intimacy direction for theater as well. So
Oh, wow.
staying busy.
Yeah, that sounds busy, but it sounds so interesting and fun too.
Absolutely. So fun.
Yeah.
I too can be found on Facebook and Instagram under my own name. I will actually be seeing Stephanie this fall on The Hunt.
Ooh.
Wait, are you? What?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
You're playing, oh, I forgot her name already. Yes. That's so exciting. Yes. Oh my God, I didn't know. Okay. This is so exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
New cast reveal. Oh my gosh.
Yes, only here.
Bree, you want to be an extra, Bree? We'll just bring you in.
Call me.
Okay.
I'm free every other weekend.
Hey.
Yay.
And,
Totally.
got auditions into some other things, and we'll see what happens.
Very exciting. I'm excited to follow you guys. I just want to thank you guys for spending your evening with me and pouring everything into this film. I think it's going to be so powerful and so incredible.
Yeah, this has been great. I love talking about it because we didn't really get to talk about it. And now it's like, oh, finally, we can tell people it's happening. And
Yeah.
obviously, I don't know, as an actor, I love talking about characters and story. And so it's always nice. So thank you for having a platform for us to do that.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
Oh, no, my pleasure. All right. Well, with that, this is what I always say at the end. Remember, refuse to be clueless, careless, or caught off guard. And that's where you all say, not today, murderers.
Not today, murderers.
Yes. Oh, yep. That's our sign off.
Love it.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, Jenna, this is great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate
Have a good night.
Bye.
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 Bye.